I'm not seeing a conflict here because I definitely all the events have led up to her. I mean, I'm not going to play her as obtuse, right?
Right.
You've gotten past that with your actions. So she says, "Well, this just cannot be permitted to stand. Ah, well, I'll just talk to Barabo and set him straight." And the 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 other attendants are kind of lurking and cringing around, and she looks at them and says, and all of a sudden, like a flash of the flash of the priestess that she must have been is evident when she says, "Choose," to all of them. And
So Barabo, is that the autocrat, the right wing guy? Sorry.
Right, yeah.
yes.
Okay.
A bit of a reach, but in present circumstances, maybe not that far. So, okay. The next step is the next step then is what do you want to do, accomplish as Bushi? What's your next move?
Um, have they made an obvious choice yet? The cringing attendants.
A few of them,
If
will stiffen their spines and move positively toward to burrow in a kind of a relieved way. You know, oh, okay, all right then. You know, they needed somebody, right? They needed somebody with sort of an in charge resolve, and she has finally provided it, and that's good enough for at least most of them. There aren't that many. We're talking about four frogs.
okay.
Whether a couple of them are just faking or are lurking off casually into the shadows or not, maybe not. You don't know the area well enough.
The fellow who was bringing her the tea, is he doing anything?
That's a very good point. Yes,
Mhm.
he will, of course, be attacking you with his curved dagger
Okay.
and shouting "Spider Lover."
Gotcha. Okay, I will defend myself and try to. Well,
Right.
that's enough to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's indeed this sword of the sword of the Sky Temple is unleashed,
Mm-hmm.
unsheathed. Okay, so
Sky Temple food.
mhm. So I want to get a little bit now that we've gotten really concrete with Manu. Let's get really concrete or closer to it with Claudio because you said you were trying to kind of communicate. If we
Yeah.
were to become a little less California about that, could you tell me how?
Yes. Well, uh, I think actually, if I notice that uh, the statue is not alive, um, I might not try to communicate it. Like I might have stated a little bit too long of an intent there. It's just I didn't know how
Well,
much you were going to tell me before I got
the
there.
presence
So
of being watched though by something right there is
yeah,
extraordinarily strong. It wouldn't be foolish to try to communicate with it. That's why I stuck with it.
yeah. So what I was going to say is that I think I'm not sure if I want to touch it. Uh, well, yeah, I'm gonna touch it. Like I want to like touch it on the mouth, like and see if I feel anything, right? Or look it in the eyes and see if I feel anything. Um, Again, it's it's not that I'm doing much, but I'm um trying to see if I feel like there is another person, right? Or another entity or of some kind.
as I have said, there definitely is. That is not at issue.
Mhm. And it doesn't react to being touched.
The touching of the statue doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, wait. As you say, you're trying to communicate more or less, or at least perceive in a kind of cognitive way. You're asking for a reaction, but I still don't know what it is you're trying to convey.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I got the question now. I want to understand who is it?
Well, it's certainly the entity that you sensed through the water. I mean, again, this is not a roll. You made that.
Is
You
it
made that roll with the water. I'm sticking with that. I mean,
right? So it's
it is a monster. Or it is some sort of snaky consciousness that is uh, yearning to swallow you.
I want to ask it why then.
Okay, excellent. Okay, um, and so Manu. No wait, we already got you, Lorenzo.
Okay. And I think that how close are we to the lake? Are we inside of the lake yet? No, I think not.
No, you're
We
not. You
are.
have to get through this area of the village first.
Okay.
I hesitate to tell everybody that you are now in the region of the director's tent of Camp Unilay as it used to exist back in the 70s.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's a village, not a
And
camp, and it's not a tent in our game.
so I'm going to turn to Europe and say, okay, if we are going to put the Holy Squad to mm, fix things here, we may as well just start here. And I take a step forward and say, uh, for the wellness of the community, we, the Holy Squad, should sequester this prisoner and bring it to the temple.
Rob kind of
In
looks
my
at
most
you. Rob kind of looks at you in a sudden. That's not what I expected sort of way, and and again going into the role. So this isn't the resolution of what you said. This is adding
Mhm.
to the circumstances with everybody's. So I'm going to cover several characters. Urov
Sure.
is going to re-message it, and his voice is deeper and bigger than yours.
Of
Um,
course.
and he's going to re-message this as they are now under the protection of the Holy Squad, and we are all going to go and serve Spo as we properly should. So who's ever coming with me, do it. And this new member of the Holy Squad, the great and
Yes.
magical Tiru, will provide us with all of the protection and power that we need. So you've suddenly been sort of built up a little bit. So that's Urab. Now different people are having all these different reactions. Um, and Epi's opinion is that you're not great and powerful. You're a wretched. Uh, Epi has nothing good to say about you.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
So he has.
But he is dangling from a
Well,
stick,
he's like all bound up, and like he is not suspended from a pole, but he's like bound up on a cart, with wheels, standing there.
Okay.
Right? But still, I
Okay.
mean, he has opinions, and one of them is of you.
Of
And
course.
so that's happening. And the uh, and different frogs are reacting in different ways. The chance for you guys to get mobbed is real, for example.
Of course.
Um, Now for so I think we've kind of got everybody's situation. Um, that and it is actually probably Washi. No, all of you are in danger of injury. If not,
Oh shit.
probably not fatality, but injury for sure. Um, because what will happen is that I can actually say this before the wall. I mean, before we roll, Claudio, the wall actually you can feel it, and it's like stone and built up material, so it's not like solid rock. But you can, the second you put your hand on it, you suddenly realize just how much physical pressure is actually affecting it from the inside. Something
Oh.
may well be breaching this wall imminently. So, that is the time when we all roll. All of you get one gift die. Well, wait, no. Claudio gets one. The other two get two. They're separate
Oh,
rolls.
come on.
Right? What do you mean, come on? You're the one who went to
No,
go
it's fine.
confront the
It's fine.
god by yourself, for God's sake, in its
Yeah.
lair. So, the other two, I mean, Tiru's got a buddy and allies and a lot of confusion, so it's not like a concerted defiance, right? And the same thing for, I mean, I figure Bushi, one addled, priest fanatic is not the worst opponent Bushi has ever faced. So that's what I'm saying. However, it is a dagger and it is a spring surprise attack. So there you go. All right. Let's pick a trait, everybody.
I don't know if I can use my Yuck Ways trait on this because I mean, is it about dodging what about to happen? Is it about detecting it? Is it about or I mean, am I supposed to choose that?
Then narrate. Whoever narrates will choose that.
Then I'm. I'm going to say I'm the guardian of the Yuck source and leave it at that, and
Okay.
potentially get fucked.
Well, okay.
Because-
That's fine. How many dice more
That's
is that?
what I'm thinking of. That's one.
Okay, good enough. And
The Yuck-
Mhm. the issue
And I
here.
use one pool die.
Okay,
Yeah, sorry.
excellent. So
Yeah.
you're ready to roll.
Mhm.
Let's get everyone else ready to roll. Lorenzo.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Manu.
Just to perfectly align myself, we are trying to prevent the violence, or the violence is already.
That's what I'm asking you.
Okay.
There's no violence yet. I mean, Epu might
Okay,
disagree,
so I
but
think that in this case, trying to be a hero may apply. I want to get through to people that I'm
Good.
trying to save the guy.
that's good.
So
Yeah, sounds good.
okay, but I'm not going to use bonus dice.
Okay,
I'm
so
going
how
to
many
roll
dice do
three
you have?
dice. Yeah, it's three.
Okay.
One for the trait, two
Right.
for the.
Menu.
Okay, so Sky Temple Knight is the obvious trait. So that's going to be 2. So you've given me 2, and I'm going to go all in with my pool of 3. So 7.
Okay, let's do it. Everyone roll. Uh-oh.
I got one.
That's
One.
amazing. I've noticed that the pool.
2-6.
No ones. How about you, Lorenzo?
No, 5-2.
Oh no. Okay. So, in that case, why don't I dispose of the other two with a nice little vanilla failure narration? And in the case of Washi, I think it's pretty straightforward. Although you are wise in the ways, and we have seen that they are potent, you are in Spo's place of power now. And I'll quote Alan Moore, and you should not have come here. And so this is made manifest as the wall bursts and the facial carving or construction is dissolved as the incredible coils of Spo swarm out and over you, and the impression of the savage head of the cobra is, blurrily in your sight as you are semi-crushed by wall material and snake coil and all that kind of stuff as it slithers out into the main area, the main central area of the map that I gave you, and you're sort of sprawled there. It's. I'm saying that this is about it getting out, and not so much about eating and swallowing you. That may come, but right now you are at a big disadvantage, being partly covered by rocks and stuff, and squished, and obviously probably a little alarmed.
Yeah.
So that leads us to there's cool things to tell you about what's on the other side of that. But okay, so that leads us to Lorenzo. And so with Tiru, the problem is that the whole thing devolves into a brawl. The various different loyalties and fears, cries of the Holy Squad has been infiltrated by a spider spy, and the cries of the spiders are going to get us all, and also the if you will the reasonably logical point that fate seems to have gifted the village with a whole bunch of outsiders to feed the spell. I mean,
Makes sense.
Everybody's like, wait, problem solved, right? At least for a while. Come on. So that point of view is currently taking hold, and since you guys were kind of in danger of being, I mentioned that you guys are in danger. Yes, I mean you're losing members of the Holy Squad. They're being battered senseless or stabbed, and or this isn't really an armed crowd, so maybe it's like with implements or something. But but yes, at the moment you're getting the worst of it. I mean you're desperately battling somebody who probably bonked you over the head. You're certainly in no position just to go walk over to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's kind of happened with you. You haven't been defeated or bound up, because that's not really what was at issue. What's at issue is that the idea of kind of turning the village to you and giving you guys a nice
We
clear
won't
path
reach
to
the temple
anytime
that's soon.
Not the way you intended. You won't. That's for sure.
No. Yeah.
And you've lost track of Urop. He's around here somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah, buckets are overturned. There's much village mayhem at this point. And now Menu, should you like to narrate your outcome, or do you want a pool die? Either one.
It would be fun, but my pool is pretty low, just 3, so I think I'll take the pool die.
Okay.
Bring it up to 4.
In that case, I will say you handily disarm the fellow, and it's kind of like snicker snack, right? And the guy's like, "Where's my knife?" And so where's my knife? Oh, look, a sword. And the Barreau says the person's name and says, "Really? Don't you remember what we used to talk about when you were little?" And that kind of does it. He's kind of like, "I'm sorry," and swallows hard and kind of nods to you, So basically, that's concluded. So that's the.
He looks genuinely contrite.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, that's handled. Okay, well then we've got mayhem in the square. We've got violence up there with the snake situation. We've got much. Oh, and by the way, I don't know how big you thought Spo was, but it's bigger than you thought.
Yeah.
And so
I guess I did tread on him.
Yeah. And so therefore I'm going to say that Bushi, let's move this on. Bushi, Barreau, and the priests with them and so forth are able to, she's sweeping through and she says, "All right, to the main nave, and we will see about this. Bring Barabo to me if he is not there already." And someone else is saying something like, "But Spo, but what about Spo?" And Burrow is like, "Why does everybody keep missing the point?" So, what have they been telling you? Spo's not a thing. Okay? So, anyway, didn't we teach them not to? Never mind. So, anyway, that's the thing. The fellows are all heading in that direction. You'll get to that area, and much to everyone's surprise, Barbo is collecting valuables from the big sort of cathedraly worship spot, and turns and looks at everybody and says, "Save yourselves," and looks as though he would very much like to exit out of the temple with some valuables and get the hell out of there.
So I point to him and say, so instead of being on Spo, I see where your heart is. It is on the treasures of the earth.
He looks at you and says, "If you want to address the issues and the meaning of Spo, you're going to have a lot of opportunity for that." And kind of looks behind him and is kind of edge. You got a sword, so he's going to kind of edge around to the side, to get around you guys and get out of here. So that's your situation.
Okay.
And something really smells. In fact, Baroa is kind of like as well. She's, "Oh, what is that?" And it's like this waft, not from the direction you came in either. So it's not coming from outside.